8 legislators charged with incitement to violence and hate speech have been released on cash bails and bond ranging from 1 to 5 million shillings. Now, the 8 MPs who had been locked up since their arrest on Tuesday were set free for the weekend pending hearing of their alleged hate remarks scheduled for August now this year. Now, we'll be having that story shortly for you, but also something very important that we're also following up for you here on a Friday briefing this evening. Government spokesman Eric Kiraide says more MPs risk facing the same treatment as the 8 MPs who were detained for 3 nights at various police cells in the country. Now, Kiraide defended what a section of leaders are saying is a wrongful detention of the legislators. Now, he asked the leaders to stop making provocative statements as the country heads to a general election.
Drama, and one that did not disappoint. 8 legislators, 5 from CORD and 3 from the Jubilee Coalition, presented themselves before Senior Magistrate Daniel Ogembo, in whom their fate of where they'd spend the weekend lied. Inside, the courtroom was packed with lawyers, family, friends, and party comrades for those accused of spewing hate remarks that the Director of Public Prosecution believes can go a long way in dividing an already fragile nation. And for the accused inside the chambers, party politics appeared would take a back seat. Here, unity for the political folk would be the priority today as they bargained for their freedom, one that they had not enjoyed for the last 3 days. And outside, even the Milimani court staff would feel the effects of the gravity of a hearing loaded with public anticipation. It's a court directive that would have high stakes, represented by the number of people that presented themselves here at the Milimani law courts versus the security forces that were put in place surrounding the court to ensure that any form of violence that may erupt from the directive issued is quelled almost immediately. The surrounding environment depicting a tense scene where anything was anticipated.
They ran to court.
And after several hours of presenting submissions before the court, Chief Magistrate Daniel Ogembo would release all 8 of the suspects.
This court is of the view that it was incumbent upon the prosecution to go beyond merely stating the offensive words.
His words would be followed by a flurry of celebratory songs, which would later metamorphosize into chants at the courtroom.
United shall never be defeated.
Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria and his Kabete counterpart Ferdinand Waititu would receive the worst of the punishment, having been released on a 5 million shilling bond or a cash bail of 2 million shillings, while 6 of their co-accused were all released on a cash bail of 300,000 Kenya shillings or a 1 million shilling bond.
It's really not about how much money we are depositing in court. It's really not about the worth of the property that you want to present as security. I would really plead that we look at this as a more serious issue.
The court insisting that both Waititu and Kuria had pending cases of a similar nature, even though the prosecution through the Deputy Director of Public Prosecution Leonard Maingi failed to present sufficient evidence to have all the legislators detained any further.
We from the court movement allowed the ruling by the magistrates, which was basically vindicated us. We're saying that our people are basically innocent.
And so, after nearly 80